So let me ask you this: when you was working at the bank before you left, you were telling like the people you work with like that you did comedy.
I used to hide it for a long time, but then I started telling people. I started telling people when I first got into banking at my very first job to move to LA because I thought, well, I'm just a low level banker here. It won't be a big deal. And a lot of them I wanted to come to the show, which they
Yeah.
ended up coming and helping me out with my numbers. So I was telling people when I got promoted a bunch, that's when I shut the fuck up again. But then they found out somehow. And I was like, great. And that's when I got laid off. But
Because of that?
I miraculously got laid off like 3 or 4 months after they found out. Then I got back into banking job again, and that's time I was like, I'm gonna just stay low level, but I'll tell people I do it. And so, yeah, most of my coworkers knew.
So I started this job. I didn't tell anybody nothing. Like I just didn't want to say anything because the person that they see at work and the person like I am in my private life,
right,
is totally different. Not like I'm faking at work, but it's like I'm just there to do a job and leave.
Right.
So I come in, I punch in, get my paperwork, everything. I'm out. Mind my business. You know what I mean? So, and I always have like this serious face. I've always known that, like no matter what. So even when I meet my neighbors or strangers, they're like, "Oh, you do comedy? I would have never thought because you look so mean." They say stuff like that. So I come in on one Saturday. This was like 2 months ago. I come in and one of the dudes, he's younger. He walks up like, "Yo, man, you funny as hell." I panic. So I'm like, "Huh?" I'm like, "What you talking about?" It's like, "Y'all seen you on Instagram." I was like, "I done got Instagram." He was like, "For real? You don't be doing the videos about the
what?
The Jordans and the Timberlands?"
Nick, you look just like you.
I was like, "What?" He was like, "Damn, I thought it was you." I'm like, "Nah, bro, I ain't even on social media." "Oh, my bad. All right." And I just walked away, right? I'm like, cool. Like,
nigga,
save, you know what I mean? Because I'll tell you, the people that I work with, I'm in my mind, my algorithm wouldn't be, their algorithm wouldn't be showing me, is what I'm thinking. So I'm like, I'm safe here. They're never gonna see this. You know what I mean? On Explore page, it's never gonna pop up. But dude said that was 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago that I dodged it. Heard nothing since. I'm sitting down eating lunch yesterday. My supervisor comes in. He's like, "Hey man, when you got another show?" I wanted to break everything in that fucking break room.
bro, you wouldn't get away. You wouldn't get away with that shit, man. Come on now.
I mean, bro, it was
nigga, and your presence is huge. Back when I did that shit, it was just barely Instagram. They were talking about it like that.
Okay,
like,
but listen. So let's just say you go to work and everybody you work with is the demographic that you would see at a bingo hall.
Yeah, that's the corporate job I had. That's why I thought nobody would find out.
Yeah, so
yeah,
you can see why I thought I was safe. It's not that, but it's definitely not.
I don't know how it came about. I think the world is just small enough where they could be like, "Oh, you know that guy? Oh, you know that guy does comedy, right?" Like something like there's always somebody that knows somebody. It's like the 6 degrees of separation. Because the day that dude found out and used it in the middle of my meeting, I was just like, I literally made that white guy blinking face me. He said, "John, why don't you tell us a joke?" And I was like,
Wait. You didn't tell me about this. This ain't the interview.
This is the good job before I got that second bank job. So this is where I was working at, and I met the girl who I hit up like, "Yo, I'm applying to this new company. I heard that's your manager now." So I'm at this current company before I got laid off, and I got promoted 3 times in a year. And so now I'm at this corporate banking job, and we're doing like these $1 million, $1 billion deals in my division. And I was like, so I'm just like, let me just shut the fuck up and make this money. I want to say like 6 months in, I thought I was doing okay. But me and this guy I was working with, we just not click. I felt like he just was like distrustful of me or my abilities or whatever. He just always had like a weird vibe
just
about
undermining you and shit.
Yeah. Like he just couldn't figure it out. And plus, I did get promoted from the branch, and a lot of people didn't do that to go into corporate. So they were just like, "Oh fuck it up." So I think there was a lot of
animosity.
Yeah, and a lot of Anna. And so one day, and I think this dude just researched me for sure, but something had to have triggered it. And so we're in a meeting with him and a partner, and we're having this pre-meeting before our meeting starts. And he goes, "I don't know, man. This client seems okay. Well, maybe we'll break the ice with them. Maybe John, you can tell him a joke or something." And I'm just listening to the meeting face, and he says that, and I go, sorry. What you say?
The fucking actor,
bro. I act like he said something in Spanish. I was like, and I kept going. What'd you say?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? And he's like, well, maybe you could just tell him a joke or something, right? And I was like, I don't know.
That condescending Caucasian.
Bro, I was like, I don't know what would be funny if we're there for a meeting about money. So I don't got any jokes that I would tell. And he was just like, thought you would have told a joke. Like the whole.
Just keep pushing the
lean
button.
into it. And the girl or the lady that was there, I feel like she knew that he was about to do that or something. Like they had already talked about it before I got into the room.
Like they prepped it.
Yeah. And so he just wanted to see what I was going to do. They would see how he reacts to what you say. And like, so she just kind of like was looking at him and looking back and be like, and I'm just like, nope, no jokes. I guess we'll just figure something else out when we get to the meeting. Like, I just went along my way. Because nothing I did in comedy had impacted how I worked at the current job I was at. So I was just kind of like, okay. But it just, that bothered me. Not that. It was just the idea that one of the other guys that was on that team had a band. And I was like, is anybody asking him about his fucking band? His fucking shitty garage band?
Cover a song.
Bro, I was like, how is it okay for everybody else to have an extracurricular? Because everybody hates their fucking job. But my extracurricular makes you go, well, he pre-came me. That's that shit. And so I was like, whatever. I'm sure I ain't got much longer here. But it also made me say to myself, I should never deny that I'm a comedian. That was the other thing I thought to myself. Like, I ain't never going to deny that shit again. That was the last month I denied it. I was like, what the fuck? Like, this ain't going to make or break his life. It ain't going to make or break my life to say, yeah, I do comedy, bro. Like, but I'm at work now, so let's be a little bit more professional. I should have came back and him with his
funny.
group. You know what I'm saying? So, but I was young. I was young as shit when I got that job. So I learned so much since then. I'm like still younger than that dude was then right now.
Yeah.
So, it's like he's old, angry, probably he had real bills. That's why he used to act like I got real bills. I can't be wasting money. Okay, but I got real bills. So yeah, that was a goofy moment when they found out. But yeah, that was what you was asking, right? When they found out I didn't tell people I did comedy.
I mean, you say you told them, so it's like, but I know the one job because you said like that's how you met your girls. Y'all were.
Yeah, so my first time when I got into banking, when I first got to the branch banking over in Long Beach, my coworkers, it still should be a TV show. I did write a TV show about it, but like just working at a branch was so funny to me because it was like we were all young and bankers and like tellers, the people that give you the cash. Yeah. And you got the branch manager, who was a black dude, cool as shit. I'm cool as shit with the black manager. We got white people, we got Asian people, and everybody thought me and the black manager was just bullshit because we always hung out. People were just like, what are y'all talking about back there? All the while, I'm cold at numbers. I'm killing it. And then, so he already got his numbers. What you want me to make him do? Get y'all numbers too? Like, I was the best banker there while still shooting this shit. Yeah. So they was just like, they couldn't stand that shit, but it was funny.
So what you mean, get your numbers? What are you talking about?
Banker is a sales job. You got to get loans, you got to get investments, you got to get new accounts, you got to get credit cards. Teller? No, I was a banker.
Oh, you don't want to sit down and open
a personal banker. Yeah. So I open the accounts, I sell products. The tellers just give you cash, change, cash checks.
I thought you were saying you were a teller.
No, I was a banker, personal banker. Then I got promoted to licensed banker. Then from licensed banker, I got this different level banker where I did handle like high value clients.
Yeah.
And then I went to commercial banking where I worked with companies that made over $500 million.
Damn.
So I went from branch banking to $500 million company job. And everybody was like, what the fuck? We all had that.
And that's the last job you left?
At Wells Fargo, yeah. That was my last job at Wells Fargo. They laid me off probably months after that conversation. Months.
No, but that's not the job you left to do.
No, then I got hired at Chase after I got laid off. I took a year and a half off when I got laid off from Wells Fargo. I said I'm going to go jump into comedy full time in 2018. And nigga, that shit didn't work out that way. It didn't work out right. I wasn't ready. So I said, let me go back to banking and just make some day job money. And then I did that shit for another year and a half. And that's when I was like, let me try to get promoted again because this banking money is trash. That's when dude was like, no. But I wasn't hiding comedy at all back then when I got the second job. I was just like, whatever, I do comedy. I work at a branch. Nobody care. Like, I didn't think it mattered. But somehow that dude found out about me, which I still wasn't telling people. So I didn't know, especially at Chase.
That's why you thought that girl said something.
Yeah, because I worked with her at Wells Fargo in that division. We had the same sales job, but she's worked in a different city, but we still knew each other. So she got that same job at Chase. And when I went to apply for the job, I saw that her name was under the team. I said, I know that girl's name. She's let me just tell her that I'm about to apply. She knows I'm good peeps. That's why I thought, well, damn, maybe she oh, you gotta talk to
Oh
John.
yeah,
He's
that's a hook. You need that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So she probably said he's so funny. I think he does comedy. I don't know. Maybe that's why I thought she did, but maybe it was just
like
he did his research or he Googled. I don't know what you do. So I was
it
like,
was probably she probably said something.
I just
innocently, not like maliciously.
Innocently, yeah. I never thought it was something like was wrong. I just was like, oh, I wish you could have waited until I got the code, like showed how good I am at interviewing and how hireable I am.
Yeah.
And then he offered me a job. And then she'd be like, oh, you know he does comedy. Then he'd be like, the fuck? Like, I wanted to be like that. But by the time he must did his nigga research. He was black.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Let me look into this nigga. You know
but that so when that happened, the first dude I told you I curved, he believed it. He was just like, oh, I thought it was you. I was like, nah. And then the other dude was my supervisor. Well, not my direct supervisor, but a supervisor. Oh, when's your next show? I'm like, huh? I was like, what are you talking about, bro? I wanted to deny, but he was too confident, like in his approach. He knew it was me. And I was like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know why I said that. Like, it wasn't like ashamed or nothing. Just didn't want him to know.
It begins.
And then, now that was at lunch yesterday. The first time was like 2 or 3 months ago. Then that was at lunch yesterday. When I went to punch out the dude I was in orientation with, that I started the job with, he walked in like, yo, why you ain't telling me you was famous? I was like, bro, what the fuck?
This is the beginning of the end for Mike Murphy, y'all, as a working man.
I was like, what the fuck?
It's the avalanche, bro.
And Tony ever tell you the story what his boss did to him when he left his job?
Like working job?
Yeah. So in short, so. he worked like a 8 to 4 shift or whatever. Was doing that for a while. You go do comedy at night, do that in the day.
Oh, right.
Something happened. They moved him to like the second shift, like 4 to 12 or whatever that shift is. Or something. But it was basically not letting him do comedy. And so he would get someone either coming earlier for him or he would come in late and someone would stay a little bit later so he could do comedy. And he kept doing it. He was finding like people to do it. It wasn't like relying on the job to do it. Like he would, if me and you worked there, I'm like, yo, bro, you stay? Yeah, I got you. Not like, yo, I need to tell the boss to figure it out. So it shouldn't have been an issue. But dude was like, he said he called him in the office. And this is kind of what you just told me the story about him. Like, hey, why don't you tell him a joke? It reminded me of this. Because he said he went in the office and dude was like, is this little thing you're doing paying your bill? Like, basically like, is this enough to pay your bills? He was like, no, it's not. But I need this job, but I also need that too. And he was like, all right, you got 5 minutes to think about it, like pick this job or pick comedy. And he said he felt like he was talking to him like a slave master. Like, yeah, boy, you work here. Yeah. And he was
vibes are there.
It was very like condescending and like pretentious or whatever, like make a choice. And he was like, nah. He said he didn't say nothing. He said, I think he said he told dude, like, I'm not coming back. Or I think Friday is my last day.
Like that. Yeah,
and he said he left and he was like, he's like, don't look back at the building because if you do, you're going to go back and he quit the job. But he said basically it was because of the way his boss was talking to him. I mean, I never think like I'm going to go to work and I'm going to be like, Because it's not like I do anything in my comedy that will conflict with what I do at work. Where they're like, some people could be like, yeah, that doesn't align with our values, our core values.
I did think that about myself. That's why I didn't want people to know I did comedy. Because I thought my jokes were very like... Because sometimes I had clients who would find out I did comedy. Because I would shoot the shit with my clients so long. And we get to talking so long. And they keep saying I'm so funny. I'm like, well, I feel guilty that you laughing so much. I actually do tell jokes on the side.
Yeah.
And she like, I'm going to go to your show. Like, I would have clients. I got clients to this day that still come to my shows from like back then. Like, I had a client who had a show in his house. And he let me do a show in his house.
Oh, that's dope.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people found out I did comedy. They just wanted to be, like, helpful. And so I was like, I got to stop hiding it because you don't know who you're talking to. You know what I'm saying? That was the other thing. Like, you never know who could be like, oh, you do what? I'm a producer. I'm a blah, blah, blah. Like, that's why you can't hide the gift. You got to just let everybody know and let them deal with it how they want to. But
you know how people say something like make moves in silence. Don't tell them what you're doing because there are people out there that want to see you fail.
Yeah.
And you're like, so just don't say nothing, just, let the work. I'm not one that's like that because, again, like you said, you could be just haphazardly mentioning it. Like, yeah, do comedy or whatever. Like, that's my story. Like, that dude handed me a flyer to go to a comedy show put on. I was like, oh, I used to do comedy. Like, I could have just been like, yeah, thanks. If I don't say I used to do comedy, we don't know each other. This conversation is not even taking place. I'm still back home, living in my big house with my family, running a trucking business. I'm not doing comedy.
It's so much trickle effects to things. Like, I didn't know it. My girl told me this like after the fact, but the first show I invited all my coworkers to, at Flappers. But
Yeah.
think about this. We all in the Long Beach branch. I was like, yo, I got a show in Flappers. I thought it was a
Burbank.
big deal.
Far as fuck.
Exactly. So I'm like,
Long
oh, it's
Beach.
in Burbank. And I'm like, maybe a couple of them will come. I get to the club.
Bro, that's literally
like 8 or 10 of them there. And I was like,
the highest.
It's the furthest club to get to. So I was like, why would anybody want to come here? But I saw like 10 of them there. And I'm like, yo, what y'all doing here? We're a show. And I was like, thanks. And so because I had so many comics, I got to go last, like second to last. There was a headliner. I did the longest set out of all the other comics.
Why? Because you brought the most people?
Yes.
That's how it worked?
I guess so. I didn't know. I saw like, you get like 2 or 3 people. So 2 or 3 people said they were coming. I ended up with like 10 or 15 people there, like 10 from the bank. And then like my friends, like my roommate and a couple of like people that was friends with her. So I had like 15 people there. And they were like, all right, John, you can go last before the headliner. I was like, oh, dope. But I remember like after the fact, Emma told me like, you know, I had to tell all my coworkers to come because I kind of like this banker, but like, let's see if he's funny first. Otherwise, I won't like talk to him.
Oh, you facts.
So she got all the girls to come out with her and like ride with her. So she brought like 5 girls. Another car came with the other girls from the teller line. Like all the chicks from the bank came. And so it ended up being like 10 people from the bank. And I was like, oh, dope, that's what's up. And at the time, I still had no idea. Like even the dude who I knew from my banking job that I met in training, he came to support the show too. And he met, Emma came out to say hi to me and she walked away. And dude was like, that's your manager? I was like, yeah, like, I think she likes you. I was like, who, her? No, she probably just, she all came, everybody came to the show, bro. They all support. And he was like, okay. So I blew it off, bro. I was like, what? No. And I'm looking back then, I'm like, oh, shit. But it's funny that little things like that, like her bringing those people, me having the biggest crowd, me doing the longest set, furthered my confidence, right? I'm like, oh shit, I gotta help people come to see me. I wanted to like be funny for the big crowd that came to see me. And then I remember at the end of the show that they didn't pay us. And I stopped and looked around at all the people that came to see me. And it was about 20 people when I got done staring at them. And they all paid $20, $25 to get in. And I said, I generated $400 tonight and didn't see $1. I'll never do this again. I'll do my own show before I bring 20 people to somebody else's show.
Yeah.
And I literally, that set the plan in motion. I had a show at the Comedy Union like 3 or 4 months later and had 150 people there. And I was like, never again am I going to book a show for somebody else and load it up like that. So all that is a trickle effect from me seeing what I could do, but it all because those people came out the first time to make me go, but the business mind of me was like, why am I letting 20 people come pay to see me and I don't get $1 of it?
Yeah.
I'll never do that again. Like, my brain was always working. Even though I was trying to work on being funny, I was like, what? How much money did I just generate tonight for this club? Like,
facts.
It little stuff like that. I know you pay your dues early on, but you should also still be thinking like, well, when this is my full-time career, how am I going to pay my dues? Who's going to pay your dues? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where it's like, man, that little moment didn't seem significant at the time, but now I'm like, necessary night in my comedy career.
All that stuff is significant. That's what I said. Like if that dude, if I don't mention to that dude that I did comedy 6 years ago when it took place, I'm not here right now. I'm still living the same life I had. And it was like, oh, so
how it played out.
Yeah, so it's like when I have the opportunity to tell somebody, I usually do, and I'll just bring it up. Like, yeah, I got a show. I'll slide it in there. Like, oh yeah, I got a show. What you doing this weekend? I just got a show. What you mean a show?
The opportunities that people get are the most chance opportunities. Like, we think that our big break is gonna come from like, oh, I'm gonna be making a funny joke online, or I'm gonna do a show and it's gonna like the agent's gonna be there. Nigga, it's the small talk you do at a coffee shop or a dog park or a grocery store, and somehow that person is talking to you and goes, oh, where you do for work? I do comedy. Get out of here, my husband's an agent. Blah, blah, blah. And you're like, really? Yeah. Like, we should come to one of your shows. Like, the shit that happens like that is more frequent than you getting discovered.
Like,
you're not getting discovered.
When we had Ocean on here, he said he got that commercial because he went out to watch a game and get drinks and ran into somebody he knew. They introduced him to the dude who works at the company who booked, the commercial or whatever, like the agency. So it's like that all happens. Like everything is like, yo, when people say like, what would you change? You're like, well, if I change anything, I change it. It changes everything. You know what I mean? On the last episode where we had that conversation at the end about like, finally walking away to do comedy or whatever. And I said, I set my date for the 31st of December. This is how the universe works, bro. And I told you personally on the phone that conversation made me want to throw up. Like you couldn't see it, but I knew how I felt like as we were talking. and I was getting like regretful. Like, am I caught up in this bullshit? Like, I came out to do something, and now I'm not mainly focused on that because of maybe choices I made where I fucked money up or I did this or whatever. And so that been on my mind. I told you I couldn't sleep for like 2 or 3 days just thinking about that shit, figuring like I got to find a way out, right? So I seen this clip that I'm gonna bring up a while back randomly, and it's not the same clip because when I seen it again on my timeline, it was on a different platform. And when I seen it the first time, it wasn't on it, but it was the same story. It was Melvin Gregg, Man Boy from Snowfall, dude from Vine, light skinned dude.
Oh yeah.
So I seen the clip back in the day again, but it's the same story. He was on Kev on Stage's podcast like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, something like a while back. And Kev's asking him these questions or whatever. And he said, like, why did you quit? He basically said acting money is trash. He was like, you might shoot a movie for 6 months and get paid like $3,000. He was like, is it more lucrative? He was like, is Vine more lucrative than that? He was like, hell yeah. He was like, there was times I was getting 20, 30, 40, sometimes $50,000 to do a Vine, 6-second Vine. He was like, it's way more lucrative. He was like, somebody shoot me 10,000, that might just get you a post on my story without me even tagging you. He was like, that money was crazy. And he was like, so why'd you walk away from it? And he was like, because I came to LA to be an actor and I realized I can't be the video guy, the Vine guy. Yeah. He's like, I want to be an actor. I got to stop making videos. What he said was, this is the only thing that saved me from really being like, yeah, I'm about to just walk, like, put my notice in, was that he was like, I had to make sure that I was financially well off enough to where I didn't have to act to make money. So I could focus on doing it the right way instead of being desperate for jobs and being poor. So he was in a situation where he probably had over $1 million where he could chill and just take classes. But he said after he stopped making videos, he said it was December of 2017, he just cold turkey, just stopped making videos altogether. And he had big following. He was like a King Batch, and I'm like,
yeah, I remember the guy now.
Yeah, he said he just stopped making videos. He said a month later he booked 2. This one is on Netflix. It's called
basketball movie.
Vandal. Oh no, he was in that with the dude who just Ben Affleck, where Ben Affleck was the drunk coach. That's the movie, right?
No, he was like it came out during the pandemic. It was about him being like a free agent that couldn't get work. Like the NBA had slowed down. It was a whole like
the movie that we're talking about. That dude Ben Affleck was a coach that was drinking, and they were trying to fire him. He was like cussing. It was like at a church, and the way he was talking was like not aligned with like the church's views.
Oh yeah, I've seen that too.
But Melvin Gregg was like the star of he was like the star player, not the star of the movie, the star player on the team.
Right. Not that movie.
Yeah, no, but this was something called Vandal, something, and something else. And basically, he was going over his accolades. Kev on Stage he knew all this shit. But basically, I say all that to say this is that he wanted to be considered a serious actor, so he stopped making the videos. So at some point, like you said, he's like, you got to walk away from that. Oh, that's the other thing. He said, why did you do it? He was like, because money was like, he's like, I was depressed. He was like, I was getting 6-figure checks from Facebook every month. He said 1 month he had 100 million views on his videos each week for 4 weeks in a row. So essentially in 1 month had 400 million views on videos. And he was getting at least $100,000 a month because he said it was a 6-figure check. He's like, I was getting that from Facebook each month and I wasn't happy. He said he built a 4,000 square foot studio where he was shooting skits and stuff and videos in his office. He said he just wasn't happy because he wasn't doing what he came out here to do. And even the money wasn't making him happy. I was like, fuck.
A gig can pull you away from your dream. A gig. And a gig is something that you listen to the name of it. Like, it's not something you're supposed to do long term.
No.
It's something that's short term. It's a fix. It's a Band-Aid. It's a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. The gunshot wound is what's screaming for you to do what you're supposed to do. And this little gig will make you go, you know, I could do this for a couple more weeks, couple more months, and you just keep sliding into this ether of like nonsense. And it's like, even though, like, that's why when it comes to content, they say you should be making more content sometimes. I'm like, I cannot make content if it does not feel natural to me and does not feel authentic as me being a stand-up comic. Because if I was an actor or a improver, I would be auditioning too right now.
Yeah.
And I don't audition. I'm not an actor per se. Like I only act for a sketch that I wrote or a scene that I wrote for
Yeah.
like a pilot. But I'm not trying to sell you this range of characters. Like I'm just saying I write really funny jokes, and my job, my goal is to make sure that's what's presented. Like if I go viral for anything else besides stand up, I will not be thrilled. I will be happy that it happened. Like, oh, FaceTime on people's screens.
Yeah.
You might have seen him on this. But if it's not stand up or me being funny, like with just my actual personal words, I'm gonna be like, that's the shit that make me blow up, not my actual jokes that I put so much effort into. So to me, it feels cheaper.
Like if you blew up from a skit.
A sketch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, that shit is. I'm gonna be like, that's great. It really is great. If stand up ain't the next best thing, like if they don't lead me directly to my stand up blowing up more, like they go, oh my God, that cat video was so funny he made. Then I found his stand up and that shit's great. I'm gonna be like,
so
it wasn't worth it.
Let me ask you this. What if you make a sketch, you do a sketch, whatever, it goes 25 million views viral on Instagram, crazy, right? And from that sketch, I guess somebody sees it, the right person sees it, and they're like, damn, this is a brilliant. Who wrote this? They see you're like the main person and they reach out to you. Hey, oh yeah, I wrote it. I wrote this. Oh man, we want to bring you in to be a writer on a TV show. Are you mad about that? That it's not stand up? Or you're like, this writing job is probably going to take me away because you know you're like everybody that I've talked to, David Arnold, all them people, Jay Phillips, all them people that write on shows don't tour the country like that. Jay Phillips, I see he does shows he don't tour every weekend. David Arnold wasn't touring ever. And he finally said he had to walk away from TV writing to tour.
Yeah.
And then he was short-lived because rest in peace. But
right.
That's what he had to do was step away from that to make the tour happen. And then when that started kind of popping, then that Girl Lele show, he kind of got back into that. But he said he had to step away from writing and put comedy first. James Davis, an amazing writer.
And that's the thing, right? Like, I would take the gig because it feels like it's in the same wheelhouse of stand up, and I'm surrounded around the right people. I'll meet a stand up that's a writer in there and be like, okay, so let me learn from y'all. Like, what's happening? Like, y'all did it. Y'all were stand ups and y'all stayed writers. Okay, so y'all don't love stand up as much as I love stand up. I would take the gig. Most writing jobs are a season, 2, 3 if you're lucky, realistically. Yeah. 3 if you're lucky. 3+ you pay for good. Now it's like, all right.
100, I think it was 100 episodes you get syndicated.
Yeah, like once you start doing that, then you like if I got 3 seasons of Fire, and I know I'm getting checks for that forever, I'm gonna do 3 seasons. Okay. So even after that, now I know I'm touring after that. In a way, I'm not touring after that because to me, I got an agent. If I got a writer, if I got an agent, my agent gonna put me in position to do stand up. And once I get that position,
but you being a writer is not necessarily gonna make you sell tickets.
No,
because we know the talent is not
the talent. The writer, being a writer on a show won't get you tickets. But what it will do is give me an agent that will have somebody in my corner going, yo, next time y'all film a Don't Tell, please consider my client. Next time y'all do a Comedy Central tapings.
Networking.
And then when I get those opportunities, they're going to go, oh, that nigga actually is fun. Like, that's all it is. A lot of these stand-ups we watch now, if they made it to those sets, they're probably writers somewhere else. They got age representation. They go, yo, I still do stand-up. I got that funny bone in me still. Let me get this Don't Tell set. Let me get this. Or they have the connections to put them in the right place to audition for that. We don't got the opportunities to audition for that chance.
Oh, yes.
Like right now, tomorrow and the next day, I think Ice House is doing Netflix auditions.
But you got to you can't just walk up.
Did you know about it?
Nah, bro.
Exactly. They doing 2 days of it too. And it's like 10 comics a night, 2 shows a night. So 4 auditions, 40 comics about to audition to get filmed for the next festival, right? And it's like, I didn't look at the full list of comics, but I guarantee you, if I had to guess and bet, all of them got representation.
Yeah.
Who was that comic on that list that they just go, no, we just worked at this club and we saw this kid be the funniest person in our club every week. And so we just wanted to like put him in the hat with these guys and see how he does against these guys. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to put the hungry scrapper in a room with all these people who got a little more progress. That should make all of y'all hungrier. That should make all y'all want to be more like funnier. Because you put a bunch of people that ain't got it in a room full of people who do got it, the vibes are going to be like, oh, I remember that feeling. He's got that hunger.
Yeah.
He's going to watch us tonight. Like, you know what it's going I love being around comics that ain't got it. Cause they got that. I'm trying to fuck you up, everybody. I love hunger. Love hunger.
I'll be like hoping that something in that same realm will pop up, or even if it's not touring. Because ideally, right now, if you said, what do you want ideally? So before we get into this, let me go back because I wanted to say this and I almost lost track. When I was mentioning the thing about Melvin saying like he had to stop making the videos.
Yeah.
So my Instagram, and I've studied this, my Instagram, when I post videos that are the green screen, that are in line with what most of my following is there for, they do really well. Like, unless it's just like not a good video or maybe I rushed it just because I wanted to put something out. But when I put my time in, like write something, those videos do well every time. When I put the clips of us up from the show, they don't do it at 12,000, you know what I'm saying? But my videos in a day, I'm expecting to, at minimum, be at like 75,000. So these videos doing a fraction of that, right? But I don't care because right now, that's just the fun part of social media. Like, you have 1 million followers, they don't buy nothing, they don't come to shows, you can't sell tickets, but you're recognized everywhere. I don't want that. I want to build an audience that comes to this pod and says, yo, when y'all doing a live show, when y'all dropping merch. So you know how hard it was for me to make the decision to say, I'm going to focus more on posting clips from the pod than to worry about that because I know it's not going to do as well. I just stopped looking at the numbers. I don't even care no more. Because, well, I'm not going to say I stopped. I'm looking at it from a different lens. Like, I'm posting a clip and I'm comparing that to other clips we had. Like, why did this do so good? Or why is this not doing as well, et cetera? Because I'm trying to build this up, the pod. And I noticed that the views on social media, on YouTube, they're going up faster than the older episodes. The clips are doing better at the end of the day than not some of those first ones. Some of the first ones they're like at 40,000, 30,000. Like, I don't know. Those ones are just super funny. But now we're starting to like put out more. I think it's going to grow and grow and grow. And then it'll be like, we'll look back like, damn. But it had to take for me. I mean, clearly, I know you don't care because you don't have a page where people are going to it. It was like, yo, why don't you make you know what I mean?
Right.
I had to sacrifice like my audience pretty much.
No, yeah, you've taken a big leap. And the uncomfortable part is that leaning into it.
Yeah, I'm just like, whatever.
Leaning into it now.
This is what I want.
But I think that the consistency that you would show with this, the people that followed you for the other reason, you'll gain a new base that are following you because of this reason. Yeah,
and then some of them people will come over because
balance out, yeah.
Yeah, and so, you know, I'm doing all that, but ideally right now, if I could snap my fingers and say, well, what do you want right now? Partially is I want the pod to do well enough to where like we could live off this without doing nothing.
If you could accumulate 200K in the pod, that would be a death, like that would be like definitely a killer compared to 200K on a personal account.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That means that's 200K people that are like, yo, we fuck with this.
Yeah.
And it's not a person, it's an entity, it's an ideal. It's a representation of thoughts versus one person who can be who's followable.
Yeah.
Right? A person can fuck off and you be like, fuck that guy. The pod is more of like a representation of thoughts that you align with.
This will eventually turn into a business, a corporation.
Literally.
Like, yeah.
That's how it
because
is. That's
once
how
we
it
get
is.
to the point where we start getting too big, we're like, you have to hire an editor. We have to hire, you know what I mean? Like, we can't do this.
Staff.
Yeah, so we'll have a company, we'll have a payroll, stuff like that. But yeah, that will be the thing. But then also the thing is I would want to go on the road as a feature to learn that side of it. Like the every weekend, how it runs, getting better without being the one that they're coming to see. Because just imagine, right?
Stand up.
Yeah, stand up.
Oh, gotcha.
Like simultaneously, like shoot the pod, it's doing good. And then on the weekend, we fly out Friday morning or Thursday night or whatever. Like that's what I want now. But I want to go as somebody's feature, not headlining yet. Because I want to learn that. But if it came up,
sometimes you just get promoted.
I'm not turning it down.
Sometimes you get promoted to house man. You turn it down?
I said I wouldn't turn it down.
You can't turn it down.
Can't.
You never know when your moment is.
Yeah, Tone say you can't turn on opportunities that you don't know if you ever get them again.
No, that's real. That's real. Like if I got that shit, I'd take it all day.